These are directions on how to do your volume practice center. You should have a packet that looks like this. Make sure those two are crossed off on your packet. Okay, so all of these problems involve the volume formula. Remember, the volume formula is length times width times the height. That is how we find volume. So if I were you, I would pause this video and go ahead and write that formula at the top so I don't forget what formula I'm using to solve these problems. I'm going to skip number 1 and number 2 for now. I'm not going to do those with you guys because those are just regular volume problems. So you're just going to be multiplying the length times the width times the height to find the answer. Same with number 3. It's a length times width times height problem. Okay, I am going to do number 4 with you because number 4 has some extra steps besides just finding regular volume. Okay, so first I'm going to start by reading it. It says, a sandbox is a right rectangular prism that is 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. The sandbox can hold 48 feet cubed of sand when full. Lisa fills the sandbox 1/4 full of sand. What is the height of the sand in the sandbox? Okay, I'm going to read it again, but I'm going to start labeling and drawing some things to go with it. Okay, so it says a sandbox is a right rectangular prism. So I'm going to draw a right rectangular prism. Instead of trying to imagine what's going on in the problem in my head, it's much easier if you just draw it out. So here's my right rectangular prism. Okay, so I got that. Have it 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. When full, Lisa fills the sandbox 1/4 full of sand. What is the height? So I don't know what the height is. Okay, something I want you to pay attention to is this part here that says Lisa fills the sandbox 1/4 full of sand. So we don't know what the height is, but all we know is that it's 1/4 full of sand. So let's pretend this that I'm highlighting is 1/4 of the whole rectangle. So they want to know what is the height, not of this whole entire rectangle, but just what is the height of the sand. Okay, so I'm going to be using my volume formula, so length times width times height equals volume. Okay, I already know the volume of the sandbox is 48, right? Because it can hold 48 feet cubed. I know that the length is 6 feet, the width is 4 feet, and I don't know what the height is. So that's kind of what's going on right now. Okay, now here's something that's kind of different. Instead of just finding what the height is of the rectangular prism, they only want to know what the height of this section right here is, the 1/4 section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide my whole volume that I have, which my whole volume is this 48. I'm going to divide that, or multiply, I guess I should say, by 1/4 to figure out how much volume I'm actually dealing with. And the reason why I'm multiplying it by 1/4 is because it's a fraction. Remember, whenever I'm trying to make a divide with fractions, you actually end up multiplying. If it was a decimal, if I turned it into a decimal, then I could divide it. But since it's a fraction, I'm going to multiply. And the reason why I'm multiplying 48 times 1/4 is because the problem just wants the height of this part of the rectangular prism where the sand is. Okay, so I'm going to multiply across. I can put a 1 under the 48. 48 times 1 is 48. 1 times 4 is 4. Remember, this line here tells you to divide. So right now this says 48 divided by 4, which is a math fact. 48 divided by 4 is 12. So that means the volume of this section right here, because remember we're just doing this 1/4 section, is 12. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite out my length times width times height equals volume. But this time, instead of putting 48 for the volume, I'm going to put what I just found by doing 48 divided by 4, which is 12. Okay, the length is still 6. The width is still 4. Now I got to figure out, what do I have to multiply by to figure out this height? So let's look here. Okay, I could multiply 6 times 4. Okay, so 6 times 4 is 24 times something equals 12. And you might be thinking, I can't multiply anything by 24 to get 12, right? Even if you do 24 times 1, that's still going to be 24, which is bigger than 12. So I need to start thinking about fractions or decimals that I can multiply by to get 12 for an answer. Something I do notice when I look at this equation is that 24 is half as much as 12. Like 24 divided by 2 would be 12, right? But I can't put a 2 here because 24 times 2, that's definitely not 12, that's 48. So they got to think about it as a fraction. So if instead of multiplying by 2, the opposite of that would be, if I wanted to make the answer smaller, to be multiplied by 1/2. And I could check it to be sure, right? If I'm not sure if 1/2 actually works, I can try it on the side over here and see, is 24 times 1/2 actually 12? So let's see, put a 1 underneath, 24, 2, this line means to divide, 24 divided by 2 is in fact 12. So if I go back up here and look at the question, a sandbox is a right rectangular prism that is 6 feet long and 4 feet wide. The sandbox can hold 48 feet cubed of sand when full. Lisa fills the sandbox 1/4 full of sand. What is the height of the sand in the sandbox? So what answer did I get for the height for the sandbox? I got 1/2. So my answer to this question would be 1/2 because that is the height of the sand if it's only a 1/4 full of sand. Okay, some of the other word problem ones like 6 and 8 are similar, but not exactly the same as number 4 that I just did. And then I have the answers here. These are not in the right order, but you can use them to check your answer. Meaning if you don't get an answer that's on here, then you did something wrong, which I do see 1/2 on here, so I did something right here. Here it is. Okay, and then this page is just finding the volume, so length times width times height for each of these problems, and it has the answers on the bottom for you to check as well. Remember, the answers are not there just so you can just put in the answer and turn it in. If you have no work, you will get a 0. So make sure you have your work and that your work matches the answer you are stating. Okay, if you have any questions, talk to the people next to you before talking to your teacher.